the South Carolina Lowcountry, a place where Spanish moss drapes ancient oaks and time seems to move a little slower. Islandton, a small town nestled in this landscape, knew the weight of history. It knew the power of tradition, and it knew the name Murdaugh. For generations, the Murdaughs were more than just residents. They were woven into the fabric of the community. They held sway over the legal system. Their influence extended to politics and business. They were the undisputed power brokers of the region. The Murdaugh family story is not just about one family. It's about the dynamics of a small town. It's about the enduring influence of legacy. It's a story that resonates with the themes of power and privilege. For decades, they built a dynasty. They occupied top positions in the legal profession. They were prosecutors wielding the power to decide who faced justice. This legacy cast a long shadow over Islandton. The family's patriarch, Randolph Murdaugh Sr, was a legend in legal circles. He served as the 14th Circuit Solicitor for 87 years. This position gave him immense power over 5 counties. 3 generations of Murdaughs held this office. This reign seemed unshakable. It seemed like a dynasty that would never end. They commanded respect. They instilled fear. They were the untouchables of the Lowcountry. But beneath the veneer of success and respectability, darkness lurked. Whispers of wrongdoing circulated. Questions about their conduct lingered. Yet, their influence remained unchallenged. The Murdaugh name held weight. It could silence dissent. It could make inconvenient truths disappear. However, even the most deeply rooted oaks can be felled. The winds of change were about to blow through Islandton. The seemingly unshakable foundation of the Murdaugh dynasty was about to crack. The Murdaugh family tree is a complex web of connections. It's a lineage intertwined with the legal and political landscape of the Lowcountry. Understanding this intricate web is crucial to grasping the family's influence. It's key to understanding the events that would shake Islandton to its core. At the head of this dynasty stood Randolph Murdaugh III. He was the patriarch who solidified the family's legal dominance. His son, Alex Murdaugh, followed in his footsteps. He became a prominent lawyer in his own right. Alex's wife, Maggie, was a constant presence by his side. Together, they built a life of affluence and influence. Their sons, Buster and Paul, grew up under the weight of the Murdaugh legacy. The expectations were immense. The pressure to uphold the family name was palpable. Buster, the elder son, was seen as the heir apparent. He was groomed to carry the torch of legal tradition. Paul, the younger son, was known for his boisterous personality. He often found himself in the crosshairs of controversy. The Murdaughs weren't just a family, they were a brand. Their name opened doors. It commanded attention. It guaranteed a certain level of deference. Their law firm, PMPD, was a powerhouse in the region. It handled everything from personal injury cases to criminal defense. Their influence extended beyond the legal realm. They were major players in local politics. They had a say in community affairs. Their reach was vast, their influence undeniable. Generations of Murdaughs built a fortress of power in the Lowcountry. They commanded respect. They inspired fear. They seemed immune to the rules that bound ordinary citizens. However, cracks were beginning to show in this fortress. Whispers of scandal and suspicion grew louder. The seeds of discontent were being sown. On June 7, 2021, a shadow fell over the Murdaugh dynasty. A shadow that would forever taint their legacy. The unthinkable happened. Alex Murdaugh made a frantic call to 911. He reported a horrifying discovery at the family's hunting lodge. His wife Maggie and son Paul were found shot to death near the dog kennels. The news ripped through Islandton like a hurricane. It was inconceivable. The Murdaughs, the untouchables, had been touched by violence. The idyllic image of the family shattered. In its place stood a chilling tableau of a double homicide. The brutality of the crime sent shockwaves through the community. The Murdaughs, who had always seemed above the law, were now at the center of a murder investigation. The investigation was immediately shrouded in mystery. The crime scene offered few clues. Speculation ran rampant. The rumor mill churned relentlessly. The national media descended upon Islandton, hungry for details. The small town became the epicenter of a media frenzy. The focus was relentless. The questions were endless. Everyone wanted to know who could have committed such a heinous act. Who would target the seemingly invincible Murdaughs? As investigators delved deeper into the case, a disturbing pattern emerged. The veneer of respectability that had long cloaked the Murdaughs began to peel away. Dark secrets surfaced. Allegations of financial impropriety swirled. The investigation was expanding beyond the double homicide. It was beginning to unearth a web of deceit that stretched back years. The murders of Maggie and Paul were a turning point. The tragedy cracked the facade of the Murdaugh dynasty. It exposed the vulnerability that had always lurked beneath the surface of their power. The investigation was far from over. It was only the beginning of a long and winding road towards truth and justice. The double homicide wasn't the first time the Murdaugh name was linked to tragedy. The family had been shadowed by controversy for years. These past incidents, once brushed aside or hushed up, now took on new significance. They added to the growing suspicion surrounding the family. They fueled the public's thirst for answers. One incident, in particular, stood out: the 2019 boating accident involving Paul Murdaugh. Paul was allegedly driving his father's boat under the influence of alcohol when it crashed. The crash resulted in the death of Mallory Beach, a young woman who was a passenger on the boat. The incident sparked outrage and accusations of a cover-up. Many believe the Murdaughs used their influence to shield Paul from the consequences of his actions. The Beach family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Murdaughs. The lawsuit further fueled public scrutiny of the family. It brought to light allegations of preferential treatment. It raised questions about the extent of their power and influence. The case, still unresolved at the time of the murders, cast a long shadow over the family. It added to the growing perception that the Murdaughs were not subject to the same rules as everyone else. There were other whispers, other incidents, that added to the air of suspicion. Allegations of financial misconduct and shady business dealings circulated. Rumors of drug abuse and personal scandals swirled around Paul. These incidents, once dismissed as rumors or gossip, now gained new traction. They fueled the growing belief that the Murdaughs were not the upstanding family they projected themselves to be. The double homicide brought the Murdaughs' past transgressions into sharp focus. The scrutiny was intense. The pressure was mounting. Section 5. Echoes of the Past. The Case of Stephen Smith. As the investigation into the murders of Maggie and Paul continued, another case resurfaced from the shadows. It was a case that had long haunted the Lowcountry, the unsolved death of Stephen Smith. Stephen, a young man from Hampton County, was found dead on a rural road in 2015. His death was initially ruled a hit and run. However, many questioned this conclusion. The circumstances surrounding Stephen's death were suspicious. The investigation was marred by inconsistencies. Whispers connected the Murdaugh family to Stephen's death. These rumors had circulated for years, but had never been substantiated. The renewed interest in the Murdaughs prompted authorities to reopen Stephen's case. They hoped to uncover any potential links to the family. The decision to re-examine Stephen's case was significant. It signaled that investigators were casting a wider net. They were exploring all possible angles related to the Murdaughs. The reopening of Stephen's case sent ripples of anxiety through the community. It raised the specter of a much larger conspiracy. It fueled speculation that the Murdaughs' influence extended far beyond what was previously imagined. The investigation was digging deeper into the family's past. It was unearthing connections and potential motives that had long been buried. The case of Stephen Smith, once a cold case, was now a burning ember. It was a reminder that the Murdaughs' history was littered with unanswered questions. It was a stark symbol of the family's ability to evade scrutiny. The investigation was far from over. It was clear that the truth, whatever it may be, would have far-reaching consequences. Section 6. The Walls Crumble. A Community's Reckoning. The Murdaugh murders sent shockwaves through Islandton. The community was grappling with a range of emotions. Disbelief, anger, and a profound sense of betrayal hung in the air. The family, once held in high esteem, was now viewed with suspicion and distrust. The foundation of their power had crumbled. The community felt betrayed. They had trusted the Murdaughs. They had relied on their legal expertise. They had respected their lineage. Now, they were left questioning everything they thought they knew about the family. The realization that the Murdaughs were not who they appeared to be was a bitter pill to swallow. The murders shattered the illusion of their invincibility. The facade of respectability was gone. Revealed beneath was a family entangled in a web of deceit and potential criminal activity. The community grappled with the knowledge that the family they had revered for so long could be capable of such darkness. The sense of betrayal was palpable. The Murdaughs' fall from grace was swift and dramatic. Their name, once synonymous with power and prestige, now evoked scandal and suspicion. The community, once eager to defend the family, now demanded answers. They wanted justice for Maggie and Paul. They wanted accountability for the years of alleged misconduct. The Murdaugh saga had become a cautionary tale. It was a stark reminder that power, privilege, and influence can be a dangerous cocktail. It was a story about the corrosive effects of unchecked power and the eventual reckoning that often follows. Section 7. Seeds of Justice. Unraveling the Truth. The investigation into the Murdaugh murders was complex and multifaceted. It was a tangled web of financial misdeeds, drug addiction, and potential conspiracies. As investigators peeled back the layers of the case, they uncovered a trail of deceit that stretched back years. The pursuit of justice was relentless. The investigation revealed a pattern of financial impropriety. Alex Murdaugh, once a respected lawyer, was accused of embezzling millions of dollars from his law firm and clients. He faced a slew of charges, including breach of trust, money laundering, and fraud. The revelations shocked the community. They further tarnished the Murdaugh name. Alex's alleged financial crimes painted a picture of desperation. It appeared he was trying to maintain a lifestyle that was crumbling under the weight of his own misdeeds. The investigation also uncovered Alex's struggles with opioid addiction. This addiction seemed to play a role in his unraveling. It provided a possible motive for his alleged crimes. As the investigation progressed, more questions arose about the deaths of Maggie and Paul. The focus shifted to Alex as a potential suspect. The evidence against him mounted. The investigation was building a case that pointed towards Alex as the perpetrator of the double homicide. The pursuit of justice was gaining momentum. The investigators were determined to hold those responsible accountable. They were sifting through mountains of evidence. They were interviewing witnesses. They were building a case that would stand up in court. The wheels of justice were turning, slowly but surely. Section 8. The Murdaugh Legacy. A tapestry of power, tragedy, and intrigue. The Murdaugh saga is a story that continues to unfold. It's a tale that has captivated the nation. It's a story that speaks to the enduring power of family legacies, the corrosive nature of unchecked privilege, and the enduring hope for justice. The Murdaugh name, once synonymous with power and prestige, is now irrevocably linked to tragedy and scandal. Their story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the consequences of deceit. The investigation into the murders of Maggie and Paul, as well as the reopened case of Stephen Smith, remain active. The pursuit of justice is ongoing. The legal proceedings are likely to continue for years to come. The Murdaugh saga has left an indelible mark on Islandton and the surrounding Lowcountry. It has shaken the community to its core. It has forced a reckoning with the legacy of a family that once held immense power. The story of the Murdaughs is a complex tapestry, woven with threads of power, tragedy, and intrigue. It's a story that continues to captivate the nation. It's a story that reminds us that even the most powerful dynasties can crumble under the weight of their own secrets.